Oh, sorry guys.
We've got some feedback. Somebody needs to.
Somebody's phone.
Somebody's watching.
What's happening?
Somebody get YouTube on.
Somebody's phone.
Just need to mute it.
Oh no, start again.
It's Jumbo.
For some reason, my phone Bluetooth.
It's Jumbo. Hold on. Right, it's definitely Jumbo. Jim, you got enough screen open in your computer with YouTube or anything else?
So is that it?
Right, that's you, mate. Done.
Right, sorry, lads.
I was about to bring my phone up there.
That's you, mate.
I turned everything off, bar then.
I was about to bring my phone up there. Oh,
aye, Jim, it's still a screen open, mate. There's still volume coming from somewhere. There's still volume coming from somewhere. Such a delay. You got it? Nah.
No. How's that? What's happening there?
He's just getting feedback.
There's just a feedback delay. Something's open somewhere.
Oh, he's popped off. That's fine. He's probably waiting to sort it.
Hello.
Welcome to the live stream with technical difficulties. How you all doing? I can see it already. We've got 23 watching.
And I'm going to hit for this. Kenny, what is that you? Speakers too, mic too loud. I'll send the boy up and I'll tell you.
So as usual, we've got myself, AyrshireVlogster, we've got Chris Throttle Daft, we've got Scott Nav, and we've got special guests. Zed Motovlogs is Stuart, and obviously Jimbo, who's got some technical issues at the moment. He's over in Spain, by the way. Jim's over in Spain, so
he's a way to get Consuela to fix it.
Right.
Juan.
So we'll just we'll give him a wee bit of time. So talk amongst yourselves. Zed, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right. How is everyone doing?
Grand, mate. Grand. Right. Well, we go again.
Speak.
I had it on behind the screen that's viewing the style, so I didn't realise. So
there we go.
Hey, so we're sorted.
You've got to make mistakes to learn.
Of course.
So I'll do a quick hello to Kevin. We've got 2805 Stevie. That's who's that again? Stevie Ferry. We've got WMT07 Biker, Grant. We've got the Punkster. Hello, mate. We've got Burning Gas, hauling ass on as well. We have got Penny. Whoa, Scott, you need to be quiet tonight. We've got Dark Visor. We've got Robert Scott. Evening, everybody. And we're sitting currently with 21 viewing at the moment.
We've got Jim Diesel on as well. How you doing, mate? And the diabetic biker.
Oh, aye, so we have. Yep, missed them.
How are we all?
He's all doing well. Hopefully he's are. So evening, Scott.
That's because Jimbo was bricking it beforehand. He just takes it. His ass just went. He fell at it.
Right.
But well, if he, as Mark said, you're in Spain, so we'll just say there's a technical difficulty of being in Spain.
This is it.
What time are we in Spain?
We're an hour ahead.
Is that it?
No, I just it's an hour.
Good stuff. So where are you in Spain?
So I'm in a place called, well, I'm up for Torrevieja, near Lasagna. So if you were to fly in to here, the Costa Blanca, you would go to Alicante and go south for about 35-40 minutes to where I am. So I'm about 5 minutes to the beach, but that's as close as I would like to get to the beach.
Ideal.
What temperature?
It's reasonable, you know. It's like a decent Scottish summer weather now, so it's about 23, 24.
It's decent.
Well, that's summer, ain't it?
One
really?
day we get that
One
one
rain.
day.
That's what my whole water set at.
I had -10 on Tuesday morning at work, so
I know.
20 degrees. I thought we'll take it.
You top trumped me on the temperature gauges.
I did see what were you -7? -7.
-7 of us, aye.
I've
I've got a thermostat for my house in Fife, and that's all. Constantly monitor the temperature just to make sure my house is just warm enough and no more, so I don't get frozen pipes.
Right, we'll start it off as we normally do. Who's drinking what? Budweiser?
Spanish Alhambra.
I'm on the Amstel. Bit of Dutch
Amstel.
lager tonight.
I've got Peaky Blinders bourbon.
Ooh, nice. Scott,
Catching the Rona.
he's on the Rona. Well done. Right, we're up to 27 people watching, so we'll. Oh, sorry, guys. Cheers. Enjoy tonight.
Yes,
Get pissed.
Everybody. Here's to the release of lockdown and good biking weather.
Everything else that goes with it, mate. Aye, absolutely.
Too.
I'll drink to that every time.
I know.
Right, so we'll do the introductions. Oh, on you go, Chris.
No, I was going to say, now we've got 2 reasons to go to Spain. We need to go to Jumbo's, and then we still need to go see
Santander.
Guestone Lane.
Guestone Lane,
and Jumbo. So 2 reasons now to go to Spain.
We
I
can get a
usually
game up,
do-
Bill.
When I come over here, I usually do the crossing from Santander and do the drive down.
Brilliant.
Ooh.
545 miles for Santander to my place here, and it's 545 miles for my house in Fife to Portsmouth.
There you go. Brilliant.
And I've done it on the bike, and it's a killer.
I can imagine that's nice.
Aye, no, it's a tough one. Aye, definitely.
Wait, when you're coming off in Spain, it's amazing. You peel all the gear off and the run's great, but driving down through the UK, Christ, you've got all sorts of stuff on.
Yeah. There's White Rock Rider in.
Yep.
Evening, mate.
Evening, mate. So we'll do a quick introduction. So, Zedhead, you can go first. Jimbo, you can prepare yourself for yours.
Well, as it says, I'm Zedhead Motovlogs. Started my channel up again in March after a little sabbatical. Decided that my first channel wasn't going the way that I wanted it to, so basically shut it down and started again. And here I am.
Sorry, Mr. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So it's doing really well. I've tied in quite a lot of sort of different wee things now that I want to sort of put onto the channel. Everything seems a wee bit more settled as well. So technically wise, when I look back at my old channel, the audio was just a nightmare. I was hunting for my audio constantly. So my audio wasn't the same in any one of my vlogs, and it absolutely annoyed me. It annoyed the life out of me, but I seem to have nailed that now. So, aye, onwards and upwards.
Was that a hard choice doing that? Because you had what was it, 1,400 subscribers?
No, I wish it was. It wasn't as much as that, mate. I was just shy of 700.
Is that what it was?
Aye, just shy of 700.
It's still though.
It was hard, but you know that way where sometimes just a clean slate, because I did think about just muting the channel and rebranding it and then relaunching it, but I wasn't happy with anything that was on it. There was only one video, and it was a I did a reaction video to Romano Fenati when he tapped the brakes in the MotoGP.
Well, that's
and
when you blew it up.
I got almost 50,000, 60,000 views. It was just crazy. As my phone went into meltdown, basically. And that's one of the sort of seeds was planted right there and then about doing videos like that, like reacting to like the MotoGP, Isle of Man TT, British Superbikes, as well as having the motovlogging side of it. So that was basically, it was the beginning of the end when that blew up, to be quite honest.
That's something I've found. I've watched a lot of Americans reacting to the TT. And I've watched a few of them.
They're hilarious. They're hilarious when you see them, especially when they're like you can buy a dry stone wall, and the Americans are just like, I know, it's unbelievable. There's no bucket tonight.
He's behaving himself.
Aye. Got my big boy pants on tonight.
I remember watching that video, and then I remember watching it maybe a week later, and I was just amazed by the views on it for that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as if you were out on the bike. You're literally just sitting in your living room, popping stuff up, and it just went mental. So
see, the thing about it is, Chris, and the way I think about it as well is like I was so angry with what the guy had done.
Aye, I know.
And I think that came across in the video. Basically, and it was so quick because I had just watched it and I filmed it right there and then, and I processed it and I had it up very, very quickly after quickly after it happened, and it was the #1 ranked thing on Google. You know how you get your top 10, your top 10 page. It was the #1 ranked on Google. For anyone searching for Romano Fenati, they headed over to my video first. And as I say, that's something I want to try and tap back into.
Excellent, mate. Good. Jimbo, tell us about yourself.
All right, so Jim for 55 this year. New back into bikes. I was away for bikes for 8 years at least. I lived in Isle of Man for 3 years, had 3 bikes at the time. Came back for Isle of Man to Scotland. The bikes sat in the garage for ages, never got used. Decided to sell them rather than just sit there and waste away. And then that was it, basically. I bought a place out in Spain 4 years ago with my partner Sena, and we basically were coming back and forward. I came here originally for golf. One of my golfing buddies, Mike Stott, mad biker. He changes his bikes every 6 months, literally. He's never kept a bike longer than a year. And he just nipped my head about bikes. And I honestly thought bikes was in my system. Clearly no, because when I came back for a trip to Spain, I went to 2 bike shops, Cooper bikes, and then up to Yamaha and Kirkcaldy, Alan Duffus. Thought the guy was dead. Couldn't believe he was still alive, and he was there talking to me. And the next thing you can, gives me a helmet, and I'm away test riding bikes, and basically just bought an AT10 right off the cuff, and totally loved it. And basically for the MT10, I went and got a Gixxer purely because when I was coming out to Spain with the bike, my mate was on a Bengali, and I just kept tuning up tyres. So I ended up with 2 bikes, but I'm currently just about going to go and have a third one. That's basically what got me back into bikes.
So what's your third bike going to be?
I'm going to go and get the KTM 1290 GT because hopefully this year I'm planning on doing an absolute blast around Europe and taking in all the sites. We're going to go for 3 weeks. That's why, again, I'm out in Spain. I'm going to try and get residency so I can actually get back into the country and then do the tour. But that's, again, just if the COVID sorts itself out a wee bit better. Aye. But the plan is I need that bike to do it.
Brilliant plan.
Oh, it'll be great. It'll be great because my mate's got the 1290, so I hope my bike will just be a bit more comfier and a bit easier to drive around all these places. But we're currently he's in the process of mapping all out and stuff because it's just not my bag. I'll just follow along. But I know I'm really. But he'd be doing most of the route. He's an airline pilot. He kens his way around navigation and stuff. So I'm just going to leave it up to him, really.
That's brilliant, mate. Good plan. Absolutely.
So.
We're hoping to go to Largs for a chippy.
When I'm back in Scotland, I hope I can come across to your side because it's again a fair jaunt for Fife.
Aye, it is. Aye, we're looking to do some stuff up. Chris is looking into this. Everybody loves the Largs run, which is fine for us in Ayrshire. But Chris meets people up. Whereabouts is it? You meet them, Chris? Linwood. So we're looking to try and do something up there and kind of alternate between the two of them. Because we have got a lot of people in our Facebook group who are for that sort of area, surrounding area, and it is quite a jaunt for them.
Right. Me and Scott did try to do a wee run through, where was it, Kirkcaldy? And it was nice until Stirling, and then all of a sudden the rain was just there. And we tried to, and we're like, nah, just you come back home. We tried.
I think if I was to come through your way, I would probably do a bed breakfast or something, just stay a night, and I could run out with you and then stay the night somewhere and then head back. It'd be a pretty good shout, that thing.
Well, the good thing for you, Jim, if we come to yours, we could probably bring about 30 folk who could all sleep in the room behind you and get their bikes in as well.
I'd need bother for the
bikes. We've just all kept in the flare and that's it, done.
I've had 8 boys down here before. It's quite hard on the shower.
But that pool table looks comfy enough.
Well, I've 2 sofa beds to the side there, and there's a bedroom behind that, so you could battle for the beds.
That's not a villa, that's a castle he stays in.
I know. Plus, he's got a bar at the other side of that camera, by the way.
Oh, he's hiding that, isn't he?
Fully stopped waiting for some bikers.
Listen, just watch the Scott will like to leave this live.
You probably chap your door in the morning. You said I could come here. Oh, hey, man.
We did answer the door out here.
So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for where is it? Questions. So if you start popping any kind of questions you want to ask in the comments.
When you go, Scott.
What's the bike in the background?
Oh,
me? Yeah. That's a GXXR 1000R.
Did you drive that from Fife?
Did I what, sorry?
You bring that over from Fife?
Aye. What I did this year is I've got a van and I put the bikes in the van and I drive there. It's a lot easier and a lot quicker. So, and it's cheaper on the ferry when you're doing it to come across, because Santander, the ferry, it's 360 quid or something like that. So it's cheaper. Plus, when we come here for 6 months, I've got the missus, your dog, and 6 months of crap that you can't buy in Spain that you want for Scotland. So you fill up the van with rubbish, really, and it's a lot easier. And it gives you the motor air here.
I had a van to pick my bike up. I didn't actually take my bike in the van. I had to go and get my bike. It was a
all right, aye. Last year, I came on my bike with a trailer and done the trailer all the way.
Aye, that seems to be the way.
Mm-hmm. Aye, definitely.
But Scott, see if he moves. Move yourself, Jim. There's another one hiding. There it's here. There's another one hiding. I know.
There's a story to that bike. Basically, that bike should have been an MT10. Which was my first bike, but we're going out on a ride out one day, and my other mate Gav, that's his bike there actually. It was getting transported there. He had an older K5 GXXR, and it was taking about a month for his bike to come out, and he was just itching to get out one day. So I says, "Look, go on my MT10," because we thought we were all insured and everything for each other's bikes, because we've been swapping the bikes in the past and everything. turns out that Garb wasn't insured for my bike, and he had the most horrendous crash ever, really, to the extent that he spent about 9 weeks in hospital, I think. Broke his femur in 3 bits on his left leg, broke his ankle, broke his wrist. The guy basically went in the corner, and the bike, he said the bike accelerated for him and stuff like that. So I don't know what happened really, because he was behind me. I never really seen it. But when I realised he wasn't there, we went back for him, and he basically hit a crash barrier, and the bike stopped dead, obviously, and he just went flying, and he must have went 120 metres. And we went looking, doing this banking. It was a 15-foot drop doing this banking, and he was lucky because it's all rock shooting Spain, but the bit he landed in was just like big grassy, weedy area. So I kind of maybe cushioned his fall a wee bit, but he was that far away, it took us ages to find him, and we thought he was a goner because we couldn't find him. But it was a helicopter job to the hospital.
Yeah.
But the MT10 sadly was a total write-off.
How is he now, Jim? Is he still sort of recovering?
Well, I mean, the guy is incredible how his recoveries went on, because he went for not being able to do anything because he was all through metal bolts and pins and everything's on, to basically being able to get his feet out of the bed one day, and he couldn't wait on his crutches. He was virtually walking before he got his crutches. So at the minute now he's on his feet. I think the biggest problem he's going to have is his wrist.
Yeah.
His wrist looks kind of locked up a wee bit, but he's hoping, he's more or less hoping to get back to golf. He basically says to me, take this bike, Jim, because I don't think I'll ever go back on a bike again. But my philosophy is, I'm getting a third bike because I'm hoping he gets better, and I'm going to leave this bike here, so hopefully he's going to get it. So that bike was brand new, and I wasn't going to drive it, but it was itching at me because we go up the mountains out here on the bikes, and on the Gixxer, it's hard work. It's great fun, and the bike does it no bother, but you're leaning on your wrist for 5 hours. So I'm 55. It's a bit sore at the end of the day. So I ended up taking that bike out, and to compare it to the MT10, I thought it wasn't close. But the more I get on with it, it's a fantastic bike. I really quite enjoy it now. The only thing is you're clutching a lot because you've not got the quick shifter and things like that. But it's brilliant. And I've been on that bike for 3 weeks, and I've already had to change the back tyre, and I've done just short of 3,000 miles.
Right.
Which is mental.
So you're enjoying it?
No, it's great. It is great.
Right.
So what's the other one? What's the blue one?
That's a GS. I'll need to write it down because I can't say it. It's a GSXF. Is that it? The GSXF. So it's the city up version basically.
Naked one.
No, it's got a screen on it. But the screen's no great. But I don't think I'd like a naked bike. I've done it before. My first bike was a 600 Bandit, and I just couldn't handle no any kind of screen really.
No bother.
Oh, they're good bikes, but they're completely different. The Gixxer's a bullet.
Aye.
Aye.
The upright market's going from strength to strength.
Aye.
Flying.
Through the roof, isn't it?
Oh, bonkers.
For new bikes, it's all about nakeds and all that.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
all about it. But I think the used bike, I think you'll find it sports bikes. They're changing hands all the time.
It's great for anyone that does like sports bikes.
Aye.
You know, because the prices are really decent.
I don't think it really matters. It's just, I think all bikes have just went through it, but the naked one's just taken right off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
After the MT range came out, I think that's what boosted everybody.
Everyone had to raise the bar after the MT.
There's no doubt about it. The 125, the 3, the 7, and 9, the 10. The minute they came out, that was it. Everybody else had to just start up in the game, and they have. There's nobody you can say that's kind of lagging behind.
No.
I actually think Suzuki's lagging. They've not really got a massive range of bikes, really.
No, they don't.
I think Yamaha's they're cutting edge. They just look that good. Yeah.
I think Suzuki's a slow burner. You look at how well they're doing in MotoGP now. They're starting to come through, and that will filter back the way onto their bike line. You know, so I can see Suzuki coming back quite strong.
I mean, you think I was a Suzuki lover? I've got 2 of them, but to be honest with you, I really rated the MT10. It was a touring version one I had, and I thought the bike. I took it up the Pyrenees into Andorra and things like that, and it was faultless. I would have another one, but obviously I don't think you go back. You go forward with bikes. Once you've had that, you move on to someone else. I think really.
Well, you're going the right direction with the 1290 GT.
I'm hoping. I've actually not even ridden one. I've just been on the 1290, and that's a nice bike. Yeah, I quite like it. I feel like the bars are awfully close to you. That's the only thing. The GT will be a wee bit better. I'm hoping. I was saying the other day, I had a test drive on the Multistrada for an hour up the mountains there, and it was brilliant. The new one, and it was really good. And I had a deposit due on one, but after being on it for the hour, I phoned up the dealership and cancelled my deposit because I just didn't think that it didn't slow down quick enough for me, and it was a bit too scary in the corners because like if you were going in heavy into a corner and grabbing the brakes, the thing went all over the place a wee bit, and I just thought that might not suit me very much.
It just didn't fit you. So we'll go to the first question. Well, you've already, if you've been up the Pyrenees and everything, so we'll start with Zed. What's the best road you've ridden and why? And that's for Revform.
By far, for me, it has to be the Tyndrum Dalmally Road down into Inveraray. Simply because, one, you've got you're riding through the hills, but two, it's the flow of the road. I just love the way it flows. You don't have to slow down too much at the corners. It's quite open, and when you're coming out of corners, you've got plenty view to overtake and whatever. So you're not held up by cars. I absolutely love it. It's probably one of my go-to roads if I'm just wanting to go for an absolute blast, basically. But funnily enough, see, going from Inveraray to Tyndrum on the same road, it's a different road altogether, and I don't like it. Yeah. It's only Tyndrum to Inveraray way that I like it and enjoy it.
Chris?
We've answered this before. The Fort William in my leg. Fort William in my leg. Those big sweeping bends that you can wheelie around. Aye. That's me.
Scott, just to touch on it, I know we've done this already. Evening Gordon. On you go, mate. Scott, favourite?
I'm a Glencoe Road man. Hey.
See, coming round that corner and the hills just open up, it's amazing.
I think the only downside to it, it's not long enough.
No.
See, when you're pinging through it a little bit, it's a way to flash.
You drive through it and you've got enough time to turn around and go back to the petrol station to fill up again, to do it again.
I was the same. I was Glencoe, Inveraray, Glencoe. That kind of run is just right on the street. Aye.
Jimbo's going to rip it here with his.
I know. Pyrenees, where you been? Africa?
No. I've done that trip through Europe and up to Germany, up the mountains and stuff like that. And the roads are fantastic, but and they're breathtaking. But if you dig in them, it doesn't really matter. I think in Scotland, for Fife, I would go to Crieff through Yates and Muckup and things like that, into Crieff and up the Small Glen and back to Fife, and it's a 99-mile run or something like that, and it's great. You run a tank of fuel off, and you get the road to yourself. Right. Like yourself, I think the run up to Oban for Tyndrum and that, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I mean, the one that I posted on the Facebook page, Chris, that was one that I did when my mate came up from Nottingham. There was a whole group of them come up.
We met you at Largs.
Yeah, that was that evening that we had just come back. And I've got mixed emotions about that run because the run was absolutely fantastic. But when we got back to Witherspoons, we actually found out that William Dunlop had been killed in a crash, and it was hellish. So the run itself was absolutely fantastic, and the timing of it was brilliant as well. We left Largs, headed to Gourock, over on the ferry to Dunoon, and then up to the military road, and then into Inveraray, and then obviously heading through Inveraray towards the T-junction, and then left to Oban, and then up, did the big loop round Glencoe into Tyndrum, and then back over the Dalmally Pass, down into Inverary. Best to be thankful, Luss, and back to Largs when you met up with me for my dinner. And it's a great ride for a day, you know. It's long, but you take the break at Oban, so you've got a sort of decent break. And we stopped obviously halfway along Glencoe as well, so the boys could take pictures and that. And we weren't rushed at all. Put it that way. It was a decent run.
If you do go through Glencoe, it's brilliant to ride through it, but you do need to stop and just.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many times I've been up that road, but every time I've just stopped and taken it, and it's just
makes you feel very small, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, no, absolutely fantastic.
I see somebody says the Dolphin Pass. I don't even know where that is, but I'm desperate to get back and try and find it.
That's down Dumfries way.
Right, well, no, that's too far for me.
The Dolphin Pass and Lead Hills, they're good those.
Aye.
Down our way.
Is that where you did your drone shots?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye, it's nice down there.
Yeah, man.
That's where Gordon Eyre decided to drive into the hedge. And
thought his bike was a grass cutter.
Aye. He's in the chat as well.
You're just in the middle of the road, do a U-turn, go back round, and there he is reversing out the hedge. So I was like, what have you done? That's another story.
Got another question here for Dunk. What do you prefer, textile gear or leather gear? I'm going to do a refill, so Chris, you can take this one away first. Easy
for me. I'll only ever wear a leather windsuit. It's the best gift I was ever given for the wife. So the minute I put that on, I've never had it back off. So I think that's 5 years I've had that suit and I refuse to wear anything else. It's great for wind, not so much in the rain, but it keeps so much of the rain out. But wind-wise, brilliant. So leather for me, leather one piece all day long.
I've got both. I've got full textile and a full leather one piece. And to be fair, I prefer the leather. Albeit it's a bit of a nightmare to get on and off.
Right.
But once it's on, it keeps you wind out. Just makes you feel better, I think, as well. I usually wear a hoodie on top of it, just because I'm sick and I can.
Ted?
Well, I've got both. I've got like RST textiles, but I've also got my RST leathers. They're two-piece, but they zip together. Mm-hmm. If I'm going out on an all-day run, it's my leathers all day long. There's a lot of debate about protection-wise, the difference between leathers and textile. I think depending on how unfortunate you are when you possibly do come off, I don't think it matters what you're wearing, to be quite honest. But no, leathers all day long. You've got to give yourself as much of a chance as you possibly can. So I only feel comfortable when I'm wearing the leathers. And I don't like the textiles for long runs as well because my backside slides about the seat. I hate that. I just are rubbish for that. But rain-wise, textiles are fantastic.
Jimbo?
Well, I have pretty much it all, I think, when it comes to that. If I'm out in the gigs, I like my one piece on it because it's the best fit for me because I'm a wee bit fat, I think. And I could bend there and keep the position, look with the waistband, getting on my nerves and stuff. I think when you put your one piece on, you do feel protected. Your arm feels better, everything like that. But I've got an air suit out in Spain that when the temperatures really get up, you absolutely melt. And even in an air suit, you melt. But I quite like that as well when I'm on the bike day. And anything air 25 degrees, I'll put the air suit on and I feel fine in it. But it's like what you say, if you have a crash, you feel like you're wearing paper, really, I think. But it has got armour in it. Would it protect you? I dare say it wouldn't protect you as good as leather would.
Right.
But my mate Gav, when he had his crash, he was wearing jeans, biker's jeans, and ankle boots, and a pretty crappy thin sort of textile jacket, and he got no protection, nothing. The only thing that was really good was his helmet. If he had better gear on, I think he would have come off a wee bit better. He might not have broke his ankle. I think his boots might have held him. But he broke his femur, so it's like, it wouldn't matter what you wore, because that's the hardest bone in the body to break.
Yeah.
And so
it's meant to be stronger than steel or something like that.
And I think you say when it heals, it's even better. But so for me, leathers is the best, I think.
I think you're right. I think you just feel safer. See, the minute you put them on it, I feel so much safer. I can't remember the last time I ever went out with anything but my leather suit on. I'm just not a fan of anything else. Mark?
Well, you know, I like the flexibility of textiles.
Suspenders.
And I do wear textiles probably 99% of the time. I do have I've got an Alpine Stars leather jacket and I've got leather trousers, but I never wear them. But the rest of the gear, no, it's full size, no, sports boots or whatever you want to call them, no ankle boots or any of that. But I do like the flexibility of absolutely textiles. But that's not to say that's not going to change. I don't know, because I've only worn leathers a couple of times. I've been roasted in them and textiles, you know, what with the liner out them and all that kind of stuff, vents open and all the rest of it. It seems more flexible for me. But
I think I've always got a fear that textiles, if you end up sliding down the road, they'll
They're the same.
I pretty much know if I come off, then no, it's going to hurt me. I know that. I do believe that it's not going to offer me any protection whatsoever. So,
it's cheaper that I wouldn't wear them then.
Nah, but
it's different. It's like, and then you've got the whole other category of people that don't wear anything. Trainers, jeans. You know, listen, who's right and who's wrong? You know what I mean? It's like different strokes for different folks. We're all different. So
that's actually something you could. A guy I had bought one of the houses, and it was like a £400,000 house, and up he rocked in his R1 with a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and a pair of trainers, and you just look at him and you go, "Mate, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just nipping to the shop, but all right." It's like, that's the type to come out.
I wear gear all the time.
I'm going to do that.
Gear all the time.
I'm the same.
To me, that's just natural selection.
Lockwood got a question there as well. He's wrote, what about layers? So what do you wear underneath your suits or your textiles?
For me, t-shirt and that's that.
T-shirt.
Sometimes, like depending, I've got like a base layer. The reason I wear a base layer is that it's good for wicking, getting the sweat off you in a hot day. Cools you down. So when I've got the perforations and that on my leather jacket there, and like it's got like sort of material on the underside, but it's like an expandable. So when the air hits the base layer, it tends to be good. T-shirts as well. It just depends. It depends on what kind of day it is.
I'm the same. I wear an Under Armour base layer, and that is it. I very rarely have anything else on, and it's for the same reason. They got stretchy material, and if you're warm, that cool air's coming through.
Yeah,
it helps you cool you down. That's me. Scott?
The leather one piece, generally just a t-shirt and maybe shorts or 3/4 at a push. The textiles, just a base there. My thermal stuff, if needed. Don't really go daft with the base there, because like you say, the draft is nice.
Is that not the crotchless leather, Scott?
I'll chat more than any. Some of us eye problems when you see you stop at lights and you're sweating. Heat goes up. So see the minute you stop, my visor steams up, my glasses steam up.
Yeah.
I really don't stand a chance, to be honest. So The draft is nice. I don't try not to wear too much underneath.
And what does wee Stella think?
She just farted.
Is that why she's looking at you funny? Smell that?
Jimbo, you must wear absolute nothing under there. You must be boiling.
Out here, I think, see when you're moving, you're fine because your temperature, the wind's keeping you cool, eh? So it doesn't matter if you've got leathers on or anything, you're all right because you're getting the temperature, the wind blowing at you. But the minute you stop, that's when you really feel it. But I think it's the helmet that you're roasting inside the helmet more than the leathers, I think. But I generally will wear leathers pretty much all the time. If I'm going on a big long run, I want the safety of my leathers. I'll just wear a thin t-shirt underneath, just to have something on. But it's just boxer shorts and that's it. Eh?
Yep.
But I mean, when it's really warm, it doesn't matter what you wear.
Aye.
You're just going to sweat. Eh?
You've got to be roasted.
In Scotland, it's totally different. In Scotland, you could wear fleeces under your gear.
It's that one day a year where you're too warm. The rest of the time you're too cold.
And we didn't see that day last year.
No, I know. Well, we did. When we done the Inverary run, me and you and MT07.
But it wasn't a roasting one.
No, it wasn't a roasting one, but it was warm enough.
It was alright.
Fort William one was warm. That was a good day.
I thought one was a good day.
I seen one of your posts where you said it was 30 degrees. And one of the blogs I was watching, you said it was 30 degrees, and I mean that's about as hot as you'll ever get in Scotland, ain't it?
That was the Inverary run, I think that was.
Was that no his bike temperature?
So we've had no other questions submitted, so we can talk amongst ourselves.
Mark, put up Zedhead's page.
Zedhead's page, okay, well do it.
We'll see if anybody's no subscribed, can go and subscribe.
Yep, no bother.
Where's the...
Do you have any plans this year, Zed, for runs or?
I fancy doing the North Coast 500. Taking in, I don't know whether to do it in a couple of days or a wee bit longer. Do a bit of sort of camping at the roadside, I think. But I quite a lot of camping, I think. Going away for the day, part of a run, and then sort of camping, and then away for the sort of next day. I haven't got anything set in stone, because I don't know what's happening this year. Whether we're going to get to get out on the roads or whatever, but it's a bit of a nightmare. But that's basically what I'm planning.
Good stuff with yourself, Jim. You get anything planned, obviously. You'll be able to get out soon, won't you? A couple of days.
Well, I mean, we are getting out on the bike. Monday to Friday, it's where we are. We could go quite far, and so when we go out on the bike, we're doing 6 and 7 hours of biking. So we're covering just short of, or sometimes over 400 kilometres, that's all we've got today. So we tear the arse out of it, really. Our plan this year is obviously to do a tour of Europe, and we're hoping for July. So fingers crossed that goes ahead, and we're going to try and take in as many countries as we can. Really,
good stuff.
That's going to be awesome. That's just going to be something else, isn't it?
I think the COVID thing for me is sort of says, why wait if we could do it now? So for sitting about on your backside for a year, it kind of spurred me on to say that's what I want to do, really.
Yeah.
I quite fancy doing the North Coast 500. I've talked about that for a couple of years, but I think this year, everybody in their dog will be want to do that as well.
Yeah. I've actually been contemplating doing the Land's End to John O'Groats, but trying to do it within the 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. I've watched a video with that one.
Aye, it's like you've got to go to the garage just outside Gretna and fill your tank. So that's the receipt proof, and then you've got to keep every single receipt as you're going down, and that basically charts your progress. And then you actually have to apply for the certificate.
So how long said 24 hours?
It's within 24 hours. I'm not sure what the record is, but it's not about doing the record, because if you're trying to break a record, you're
speeding.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
that's a good one. I quite like that one. Quite like the thought of that one.
Is that you all reading the question? That popped on. Guys, what was your biggest shit yourself moment, and why did it happen?
I can tell you my very, very first big run on my ZZR 600. I hadn't long passed my test, and my mate used to be a Scottish trials bike champion. So the 6-day trials were up in Fort William. So obviously we were headed up through Glencoe into Fort William, and we took in the last day of the trial bike championships, which is in and around Fort William. So on the way home, we'd stopped at Tyndrum again, excuse me, and then we were heading down the loch side at Loch Lomond, and it was, let me get this right, it was a left, right, down into a left, and a nice flow, but on the left, the left bend, it was sort of slightly downhill, and there was a dry stone wall on the inside, and I got object fixation on the corner of the wall, and by the time I had looked at the wall, I'd missed my braking point, and just down to lack of experience, I grabbed the clutch and started braking. So when I grabbed the clutch, I then lost all my engine braking, so the bike wasn't slowing down, and it actually feels as if the bike just takes off like a rocket, but it isn't actually. It's just because you've lost all the engine braking. So I started to run wide, but I had the presence of mind to lean into the corner, but I was starting to drift out towards the middle of the road, and there was a Range Rover coming the other way, and I could see the white of his eyes, and I crapped myself, and I don't know how I missed the Range Rover, but the back end of I took off like a scalded cat. Back end of the bike was shaking. The whole bike's shaking like mad. And my mate who was behind me and witnessed all of this, chased me and basically pulled me over and said, "Right, check me over. Where did you hit him? Where did you?" I was like, "I never touched him." But I actually hurt my knees and everything, because when the bike started shaking, I put my two legs down. So I'm trying to stabilise myself in the bike as the bike's trying to spit me off, and it actually hurt my knees, destroyed the soles of the boots. So we had a wee 5 or 10 minutes trying to understand what actually happened. And my mate was really good about it, because it was only through talking to him and his experience of riding that we actually came to the conclusion that I've just told you about how it actually happened. And that's the sort of worst one that I've had, which was like, don't want it to happen again.
Well, mine's just other than Scott flinging his helmets and hedging, because 9 times out of 10, because he's that tall, it's coming over my head. Like that's my shit myself moments. Well, I was down in Dumfries and Galloway with a couple of bodies, and we're going along quite nicely. This car was just been a pain in the arse, so we decided to follow the guy in front. He pulls out and his jigsaw shoots, and I pulls out, and just as I pulls out, my head fucking set went, and it was a wife. She was chatting to me, and as I pulled out, totally lost concentration of everything in front of me and what I was doing. I ended up pulled too far out. I ended up hitting a manhole that was dipped in the tar, and if I've hit that and I've came back up, I've come down like this, skiffed the grass verge and came back, and I was that close to hitting the front of the car. And then I end up slowing down, and as I've slowed down, I've not paid attention in front of me, and there's a car sitting on the other side of the road with his hazards on, and this car pulls out, and I've just braked as hard as I could, the bikes all going all over the place, and I ended up just stopping still in the middle of the road and just going, what the happened?
Yeah.
And all because of stupid intercoms. And then I never rode with intercoms for long enough until recently. But that's mine. Just she spoke to me, and that was me. Totally blank. Everything that was happening in front of me just disappeared, and I was almost a goner.
Unreal.
Happens. Scott?
I sat my bike test. No. Biggest moment, I think it was an MT10. I think I was still within the, you know, you're meant to drive it within 5,000 revs or something.
Right.
2,000 miles. And me, Throttle Daft, and MT07 Kid had went to Elvine Pass, I believe. And it was my first time doing there, so I was following them. And MT07 Kid's, he's only, is it an A2 licence? Is that right?
Right.
So she's got a restricted MT07. So we were only pinging it. We were only going fast. We were going steady. I don't even think we were breaking the speed limit. I think we're doing about 30, 40, if that. Because it was the Ween Pass is covered with sheep, and it's not exactly a grade A road anyway. But there's got an off-camber turn on the left-hand side, and it just goes up and just dips to the left, and I just completely miscalculated it. Just went straight over on the other side of the road, and if there's a car coming the other way, that was me, wiped out. I think the bike was only, it had been 2 or 3 weeks old. It wouldn't have been old at all, and that was I clenched. We'll just say I clenched.
Right.
I don't even think Chris and that knew.
No.
And I think that made it worse, to be honest, because nobody would have missed me. No seriousness. It took that. I mean, I was just following. Everybody was going at the same pace. There was no racing going on. We were all just going at the same rate, and I just totally miscalculated the corner and ended up on the other side of the road. And that's to be honest.
I've got a similar story. ZX6R gone to Tyndrum, Green Valley. The second roundabout out the 2 roundabouts, just before you would go another mile up the road to turn into the Green Valley. So first roundabout, to be fair, we were doing stuff we shouldn't be doing. It was only me and one other person on this ride. First roundabout, I just made it. But I thought I was, well, what's the word do you think? Well, I thought it was gallus. There's a good word. I thought it was gallus going around the first roundabout, came into the second roundabout and fixated on the curb as I was hitting the middle of the roundabout. I was doing a speed I shouldn't have been doing. I went in too hot. I was following another biker in who's more experienced and is better at it than me. And fixated on the curb. Hit the curb, into the grass, never hit the brakes, kind of comes through the grass onto a gravel kind of walkway and started to accelerate. And as I was about to join the road, something inside me said, stop and check, because when I went into the roundabout, I didn't see anything behind me. And I stopped just before I joined the road and a car just shot by. So if I'd continued, that would have been me. But target fixation for me, it's happened to me twice actually, both on the ZX6R. It happened in the Muirkirk Road on the way back. I was with Chris and there was a few of us that night. And again, target fixated going around a corner. The sun came in my eyes, fixated on the side of the road, and that's where I ended up, off the road. So twice, but that second roundabout was a big moment for me. I had to pull in a couple of 100 yards up the road where the other guy I was with had pulled in because he knew something had happened, because I was right behind him hitting a roundabout, and I had to wait for 10 minutes just to calm myself down. So that's my worst moment, or my shit my pants moment.
It's a diabetic biker away, mate.
Yep. Just about to say that. Back to work, somebody has to.
Yeah, that's it.
One of the best.
Off we
See
go.
you later.
Jim, what's yours?
I've had a couple of things, but probably my biggest shit myself moment is when I actually had a crash. I don't care if that's what the question is, basically, but I was coming back for being up at the Green Valley and coming in towards Loch Airhead. And when I was coming down the way, they were putting in keep left signs on the middle of the road. So there was like curbs just getting put into the ground. They're not there anymore, funnily enough. But when I was coming down, I was behind a van, so I wasn't going very fast. But the van driver, he never noticed him either, and he just swerved to the left. And I hit him full on, about 45, 50 mile an hour. And basically kangarooed right off the bike and somersaulted and was sliding down the road. And to be fair, I did shit myself. But I think one of the good ones I've had is when I was going up the road to Perth to my work, and an Arctic lorry was in front of me, and a big block of wood come off the back of it, and it was just coming straight towards me. And it was just going that way or that way, and I just had to get the head down and just hope it missed me, and it did. But I bricked it with that one. I mean, I was lucky that day because I think on the same day when I was going on to the motorway to taking the turn off to go into Perth, it goes to 2 lanes, and I was going around the corner, and a car had broken down on the right hand side, and I was overtaking a car at the same time, and I just squeezed in. That day I wasn't really wanting to drive my bike home because I thought that's 2. What's the third one going to be? But I think you get quite a lot of them out on the bike, really. I think.
You get a few moments.
They're just like wee gut checks.
Aye.
I mean, if you can, my whole thing was like because I was a new rider at the time that it happened to me, I wanted to know exactly what had happened and why it had happened. I wanted to make it a learning experience as opposed to something that would actually put me off. So basically, as I say, I spoke to my mate, and through talking to him and me sort of going over exactly what I was doing and what I was feeling at the time, that's basically what we come up with. I grabbed the clutch, which sped the bike up. I'd lost all engine braking because, like Mark, I'd object fixated on the inside wall. I can think, reliving it just now, I can think I thought I'm going to hit my shoulder on that wall. That's what I was thinking, because I was going to be leaning into it because, as I say, it was down and quite a sharp left, and that thought was just enough to put me into a world of trouble. And I reckon if I was 5 mile an hour more, it would have been worse. But like I say, it becomes a learning experience and you move on.
I feel a couple of just stupid ones. I was sitting up in Glasgow. I was sitting at a set of lights, minding my own business, just sitting looking about me, and then this car just dumped at the back tyre, and obviously the bike dropped down, picks up the bike, puts the kickstart in, turns around, and the guy's not even sitting there. Runs over to the car, and there's this guy bent down the passenger side, and I'm smashing in his front window, and he comes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "How, what's wrong?" I said, "You just hit my tyre." I said, "I've just dropped the bike." He's like, "Oh, I was just picking up my phone." Oh, I was going mental at him that day, so I was. But no damage, but just something stupidity.
Yeah.
Why did I pick up a woman's phone? And then the other one was coming round Ayrtown Centre, going over the bridge when you go past the police station, and this woman just hit on the brakes instantly, and I'm millimetres for her back bumper going through the window. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" She's letting a wee old man. There's 2 pubs, and she's letting a wee old man cross the road. So as his walking stick, she thought she was doing my good turn. And I was nearly straight into the back of the window in the back seat. Just mental.
I had one on the Lochwinnock Road. I don't know if you remember, Chris, on my last channel. I had that one. It's, "Oh my God, I'm going to crash," or something like that, I called it. And it was a guy in an Audi. Like, see when you've just went by Lochwinnock, and then you go down the sort of left under the bridge, and then the right.
That's right.
And then you start taking off, and then you head up the hill to the right hand side. So I'd followed him in there. So as I say, it was like an Audi A3 or something like that. So I'm sitting in the middle. I moved out to his right-hand wing mirror. I moved across to the left. So I'm moving all across his line of vision, basically letting him know that I'm there. Thinking to myself, right, he must know that I'm there. So as we come under the bridge and take the right, it's double white lines, but it only lasts for about another 10 metres, then it goes to single broken. So I'm thinking, right, I looked up, and it's clear. I had checked over my shoulder, I'd indicated, and I was on the other side, just passing his back wheel, and he pulled out on me. Pushed me right out into the edge, and it was one of the ones, do you slam the brakes? I didn't, I just dropped a gear and I took off. And it was like, he just an idiot driver. He never even indicated. And like, I went back and I checked over the footage to make sure that I was. And like, when I put it up on my channel, everyone said you didn't do anything wrong. Because I did a voiceover on it, telling people exactly, telling everyone what I was doing and what I was thinking exactly at every stage of it. You can't predict what's going to happen when you go out.
Nah, you can be as careful as you want and trying to be as vigilant as you can be. There's people out there that they're so ignorant and they don't even realise what they've done either. Once you get up beside them, see if I safely get by them, I'll make sure I slow down so I can have a word with them. And 9 times out of 10, what are you talking about? They don't understand what they've done.
No.
I think these things are just to keep us in check, but these reminders of what can happen to us.
And how easy it is.
Aye, it just keeps you in check. If I'm overtaking somebody, if there's a junction, or there's a turn left or a turn right, or where it's chevroned out in the middle of the road, even though I could get another 2 cars in, I'll just not touch it. I'll pull in and wait till I'm by that junction or whatever. It does. It just keeps you in check, I think. Reminds you what can happen is that there. Not I mean.
Same with Spain, the roads out here, the Spanish drivers, they don't use indicators. They go around roundabouts. The way we take roundabouts, if you're turning to your right, you're on the right-hand side and you indicate, you go. In Spain, they're on the right-hand side, and they'll go all the way around without indicating. If you're on the inside, they'll cut you right off. As you've got to have like eyes in the back of your head out here. Doesn't matter if you're on a bike or on a car. So it's some of the road conditions out here is dodgy, so you've just got to be dead careful.
Can it be any worse than what we've got? Can it be?
It is. The roads are great, but the drivers are not as good. Spanish drivers are pretty bad.
I see Lockwood, he's put up saying Audi drivers and Beamer drivers. Grant's put up Audi drivers.
Is it Dunk's put up where is it? You've got to think like a fighter jet pilot.
No, it's true. You've got second decision.
My driving instructor, he actually gave me quite a good one, and it's like if you're driving along the road and there's a junction at the left-hand side or the right-hand side coming onto the road that you're on, when you see a car at the junction sitting there waiting to come on, don't look at the driver, don't look at the driver's face, look at the front wheels.
No, it's not going to move.
It says if the front wheels start moving, you know that they haven't seen you. Because, and I've had it. You're looking at the driver and you're looking at them. They're looking straight at you, and they don't see you.
We were at Mines. I was the instructor taught me the same thing. Bikes think that if they make eye contact, the driver sees them, but he says that's not the case. He says their brain fills in the gap. You're not in the gap, and they'll pull out in front of you. So he's always watch for the wheels turning. So that was taught to me when I was learning as well.
I don't know if it's like usually this is a fantastic tip, and I swear by it. And I don't. It's like usually like at the beginning of April or the beginning of sort of some people what they would class as biking season. I don't want to get into the the all year round biking debate, but it's what you class as biking season. The police usually put out that photograph of the biker coming over the brow of the hill. and it's like you can't see them. It's like you actually have to pan right into the picture. So, I mean, like you say, when you're on a bike, you do think people see you, but it's not often the case.
I've nearly been hit. Well, she's going to say she never done it on purpose, but I was nearly ran down on purpose by my own partner.
Had
you just signed the insurance?
Him for this story. A road in Kilmarnock called Great Western Road, and it's a bit like a dual carriageway with a central reservation in the middle, and there's turning points in it. We can do U-turns in that. So I'm driving up Western Road, and Billy Dick, he's actually in the group. He passed me going the other way, so I thought I'll just turn round and see my mate for a wee chat, as you do. So flick the blinker on, turned right, and just by chance, my next door neighbour was sitting in the opposite lane waiting to come out. So I've actually waved for her to come out, and she's come across and away she went. And then I've continued to go. Oh, no. Here's Penny in the wee Vauxhall Corsa 1.2. Just put it right in front of me. Nearly absolutely sideways. And it took me a couple of seconds to realise it was her. To stay,
the front view went up and you chased her.
It's on video. I've got the footage. It's the words I can't put on there. But that was actually my closest call with a car, to be honest. Just saying. I'm just waiting for us to burst through the door.
Mark, I think, if you scroll up, there's a comment that was actually pretty interesting for Carol. Carol does ride it. He had a heart attack. And then he said he went out on his Aprilia 750 too soon.
Yeah.
And didn't have enough strength back. He dropped it twice in a week. So it's quite an interesting thing, so it is. You're obviously feeling fit enough to go out on the bike and then ended up dropping it.
It's one of these things where your sort of heart's probably overruled your head, and the pardon the pun about the heart, but I like going out just that wee bit too soon. I know it's like, see if I've got like a cold or the flu or anything like that, it's just a no-go for me. I need to have a pinpoint focus when I'm out on my bike. Even if I've had a rough day at work, I've seen myself getting out on my bike and 5 minutes later turning around coming home because I'm just not feeling it.
I've done that.
There's no shame in it.
No.
There's no shame in it.
I've done that. I've come home from work, went out on the bike by myself, set all the cameras up, switched all the cameras on, and I've been not in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And within 5-10 minutes, I've turned around, came home, and then I've watched the footage, and it just reinforces the fact that I shouldn't have went out in the first place.
Yeah.
Because I was angry or I was pissed off or whatever.
Yep.
I've done it a few times in the morning when I'm leaving, and I leave early doors at 6 in the morning, and I've been riding up the motorway, and I'm sitting there just yawning, but you're halfway up, so I've always ended up just going to work and think to myself, I should have just turned back this morning and got the car out, or I've got 10, not even 5 minutes up the road, and it started pissing for the heavens, and rather than just come back home, I've just went, okay, I'm out now, I'll just bear it, when I really should come back home, really should.
I mean, like when I walked through in Coatbridge, obviously I stay in Paisley, so I mean, like working through in Coatbridge, I've seen myself stepping off my bike and thinking to myself, I can't even remember that journey.
Aye. That's
worrying. You know, it's like I think sometimes you go into autopilot, you know.
Aye.
I've got a good question here as well. What's the best bike you've ever owned? And if it isn't your current bike, why did you sell it? Scott, on you go, mate. Yeah.
The best bike I've ever owned was a Rally Activator 2. A pedal bike. I like me doing that, I can always go in it. I've only had 2 bikes. One's a even more reliable than the other.
So you've still got your favourite bike then, or your best bike? Aye.
My best bike was my MT10, but it's in bike heaven now. So
Jim, I meant to ask you, by the way, so that MT10 was wrote off, so you lost that?
Well, basically what I did is I took it to a Yamaha dealership in Ayrshire, and basically he said to me, to fix the bike, you'd be cheaper buying 2 new MT10s. That's how much damage, and it was all at the bottom of the bike. The back wheel was, I maybe even could send you pictures of this thing, but the back wheel was in half, and the sump took the hit as well. So everything got blasted into the engine, I would say, but for the rest of the bike looked mint, really. So I took it to this dealership, and he says it's a write-off. And then I asked him, is there any scrap value? Because I thought, am I going to have to take this back to Scotland and deal with this and that? So he offered me €1,500 for it, and I says, aye, fine. So I've still to get the red key. What's the red key for the bike? Because apparently that's worth $2,000. That's worth a lot of money. I says, well, just give me my bike back and I'll give you $1,500. Because if it's $2,000, I'll have that. But so that bike's basically it's done. So I can't claim on the insurance, anything like that. It was just one. It's a life lesson, and it's a lesson for everybody out there. If somebody's going to use your bike, mark shared or insured. Because I believed he was insured. He thought he was insured on his own insurance, and he wasn't.
That's 10 grand out the window.
Well, it was
mine is €1,500.
Aye, so basically that's what it was. So the guy's solid though, because he turned around and says, Jim, I've bought that bike. I need to sort you out and make sure you're all right. And basically gave me a bike for a bike, which is stand up, innit? Really, that's what guys are like, I suppose. I was saying to him, could I not just get some money because I want to buy a different bike now? But no, I got that bike off him, and it's a really good bike, actually.
I know a lot of people would have done that, would have turned around and says, here, there's my bike.
Aye, but it was a brand new bike, and you know what? The guy was saying is he got to a point in his life where he was retired, he was playing golf, and after then he was going out with his mates on his bike. Life was great, and he thought nothing could go wrong. And the next thing you can, he's in the hospital, he's in bits, he's getting bits of metal shoved inside his bones, and his life changed. And he goes, so it just shows you how quick it could all turn around.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? So,
see when you think of the metal barriers, and you think of like back in the days where like Barry Sheen and that was riding, and that was common practice to have them round the race circuits, and they used to have like the wooden stakes with the wire going across it, like catch fences as well, and you used to see them sliding off the grass into these fences, and you're like, it's unbelievable.
I've been in the Isle of Man and I've marshalled for the races and things like that when I lived there and stuff, and you're that close to the action really, and the speeds that some of the boys are going at, and it's stone dikes earlier. You miss the road, God almighty, you've won the lottery if you walk away from it.
You look at that Connor Cummins crash when he came off at Veranda. How that guy's been back on a bike since is just beyond remarkable. Mm-hmm. Considering the extent of his injuries as well.
Totally.
Keep an eye out for Hickey. Hickey is he's been publishing on his Facebook page recently that he's found the footage for his 135 lap of the TT, and he put out a wee snippet of it. I don't understand how you can control a bike at the speed that they're doing. It was sitting at 172 mile an hour. And this bike is just doing this, and his head, the chin mount, you see the camera there, how they boys go around that course at that speed and keep control of that bike.
I know. I have a wee mate for the Isle of Man, his name's Chris McGahan, and he's raced for the Isle of Man quite a lot. He's got something like 13 race replicas. He's not won anything, but he's done well in it and stuff. But might do him a disservice by saying he's not won anything actually. But he does the Manx GP and that now. He must be in his 60s. But the guy took me over the mountain one day in a fog. You couldn't see 20 feet in front of you in a van, doing the race line in the way. And I was, I should have said that is my Miss Bricking at moment because I was going to kill him. It was terrifying, but he knew the road. He could have done it with his eyes shut. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah, we were skidding or replacing this van going near the mountain. But I mean, somebody said that the other day. I was watching one of the blogs about speed limits. Is it yourself who's saying that the nationals, you want the nationals to be as fast as your safety drive, basically?
That was me.
Aye, and that's what the Isle of Man is. Basically, in Isle of Man, if it's a national speed limit, you drive as fast as your safety go. And it's quite a crazy situation. But at the same time, in Isle of Man, if you're doing 32 and a 30, you'll get done.
Yes.
Came for doing 2 mile in the speed limit.
I've got family in Isle of Man. They stay
I did say that some roads would need reclassified and be a 50, and it would be brought down from national to 50. But there is roads where we could do what we wanted. No, that's not right. We could go a wee bit faster. That's still not right.
I think there should be de-restricted roads, 100%. See, roads out of town, like motorway stretches of motorway, and that should be de-restricted. The simple fact is that it'll make everyone concentrate a wee bit more, because if you're doing 140 mile an hour, you're not taking your eyes off the road to look at your mobile phone. Unfortunately, the British government are thinking otherwise, and they've actually signed a bill stating that it will be acceptable to drive a car with your hands off the steering wheel. I think it's up to about 50 or 60 miles an hour. Because obviously they're gearing up for this autonomous driving. So you imagine that you're on your motorbike on a motorway and a guy's sitting with his hands. Who's to blame if you're involved in an accident?
Do you know how the downside to if you were to de-restrict a road or the likes of a motorway, they're doing 130. You're going that wee bit faster, but they're not concentrating what's coming up behind them because they think you're going faster. Whereas you've got a bite and you're going to go flying by them, they're not concentrating what's coming behind them. I think we've got too many idiots that are not trained properly on the roads.
That was aye, absolutely. Scott's point on it, lane discipline was absolutely kind of made me rethink about the whole idea when we had this discussion the last time. I mean, he's right in what he's saying. Our lane discipline in the UK is terrible, but I would still like to see something like that happen in the future. But Scott's got a very good, valid point about we'd get wiped out probably in bikes, to be honest.
So do you see it a lot as I do, like when you get up the motorway and the first thing they do is go sit in the middle lane?
100%, 100%. 100%. It's like, see, every day I did that journey through to Coat Bridge, it was the same drivers. The exact same drivers. There's one it was a young guy in a Mini, and like I knew what junction he came on at, I knew exactly where he was going to sit, I knew that if there was a gap he was going to try and steal it, and you know, it's like I filtered, I became very proficient at filtering through the M8 because it basically is a car park at the time of the morning that I was driving or riding it anyway. So, but you can see them. You can see them a mile off. It's unbelievable. You know they're going to do it before they know they're going to do it.
Right.
But you're right, Scott. But there would have to be a lot of things put into place before anything like that would happen. But
I know they brought into force. I thought it was quite a few years ago that they were going to start fining people who hogged the lane for more than a mile or something.
Yeah,
that happens. If you didn't go into your right lane after there's 3 lanes on the motorway or something, you've got to move over. If you sit too long on the one lane in Spain and the police are there, they'll fine you.
I see that's right. I think that's something that should happen.
I honestly think that once COVID is done with and everyone goes back out into the roads, the police are going to be out and they're going to be generating a lot of revenue for the government.
Yeah.
So whether it be speeding or whether it be whatever, because everyone is going to be wanting to hoon about, you know. There's no doubt about it.
got a speeding fine a month ago here, driving to a petrol station basically to meet a mate to go on a run, and I overtook two cars going round this sort of wee corner, and there was a car sitting at the side of the road with its bonnet up, but it was the police with a radar basically, and I gave it a double take because I thought, Christ, that's a bit strange and stuff like that. But anyway, I just continued on, and when I got to the petrol station, the police were at the petrol station, and there was just a line of cars because everybody was going a wee bit quicker. But I got a €600 fine for going. I was in a 70, I think it was in kilometres, but I was doing 123, and I was in third gear, I think, really, because I was overtaking two cars. I just sort of blipped it to get past them. And apparently, if I was going another 2 mile an hour faster, it was a jail sentence. I'd have been sent to jail, and the bike might have been taken away from me. But the police weren't bothered, basically, and they just took my details. I didn't get any points because my license, they didn't transfer across. And if you pay the fine quick, you pay half the money. So it ended up being €300, and it's a lot of money. You feel the hit of that. So
that's what happened to 44 Teeth when they were in Switzerland. Well, it turned out to be more than that. It went up to about 7.5. It was $5,000 on the credit card right at the side of the road. That was to keep his bike. He was banned from riding in Switzerland. His bike had to go into the back of the van and dropped off again in Italy. And it was like they did a follow up on something. I can't remember when I saw it, and he said I had to pay a further $2,500, which came in about 8 or 9 weeks after the event. And Alistair Fagan got away with it because a van thinged in between him and blocked the radar. Otherwise, he was getting done as well.
So in my understanding, you either pay the $5,000 at the side of the road, or you get the bike taken off you.
Yes, aye.
And it's as simple as that. So you have zero leeway there whatsoever. Yep. So the best thing is either don't go to Switzerland or you don't.
Well, I mean, like the
Europe are not going to Switzerland.
One of my pals stays in Switzerland, and like if you're doing any work on your bike, if your bike's a vintage bike, you have to replace parts like for like. They have to be dated to the date of the bike. Say you've had an accident or something like that, you can't buy aftermarket parts. You must buy the correct period part for the bike, and the bike has to be retested as well after you put it back on the road. The legislation over there would just melt your head. It really would.
That's one thing I liked about the Isle of Man is when you registered a bike or a car there, it got one MOT, and that was it for the life of the vehicle. You just had to keep it in roadworthy condition, and if you got stopped by the police and there was anything wrong, you either got a fine or you got time to fix it.
Yeah,
that was great earlier for that. One MOT for the lifetime of your vehicle.
See, the thing about it is an MOT is only as good as the day you got it. You know what I mean? Because you could your back tire could pass an MOT and you could burn that out on the way home. And get stopped. You know,
There's a good question. So, best advice to give someone that's just new to riding, Mark?
Well, my best advice to somebody that's just started riding is enjoy it, relax, listen to your instructor. But for me, it was a very enjoyable experience. I done DAS, so direct access.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pain in the arse. No, it definitely is. It costs a wee bit of money, but I had a good instructor. I really enjoyed my lessons, and because of that enjoyment, I taken everything on board that I was supposed to take on board, and it led to a straightforward pass my mod 1, pass my mod 2 first time, pass the theory test. So it was a whole enjoyable experience. I think my biggest advice is enjoy it and listen to people that give you advice, whether you take that advice on board at that particular time. There's always somebody will help you when you talk to the other bikers and all the rest of it. It's just take every bit of advice you can get.
Yep.
Carry it forward. But I have a good time, enjoy it. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Yep, 100%. I would just like to add on to that is like if you're just starting out and riding, buy the best equipment you can for the budget that you have. Always ride within your own ability. Don't feel pressurized into riding at speeds that may put you into trouble.
Yep.
If you are coming to meets, talk to people, because like if you're ever at a meet and I'm there, it's like by all means follow me and follow my lines, because I'll probably go into a corner different from the way you will, but there's a reason why I'm doing it. So if you're following people that know the lines into corners and stuff like that, it's a way of learning just that wee bit faster without obviously putting yourself at risk. But like Mark says, just enjoy it. Take everything slowly to start off with, build up your experience, and then you'll have a blast. It'll be great.
Right. Yep.
Else, Dad?
Just a small thing. I found when I was sitting my lessons, my grip too tight. My right hand went numb, which meant I couldn't actually feel myself operating the front brake. But as I become more and more aware of it, I started to just adjust to myself. But when I first started to do it, that was a major issue, because halfway through the lesson, when you're doing it for like 2-3 hours at a time, and halfway through I was numb, so I was having to stretch my hand out, but I couldn't feel what my hand was touching. So if I was doing that, I could potentially pull the front brake and set myself cartwheeling down the road effectively. So that was a major problem for me. But you just need to relax. Don't you're not a brand.
Enjoy it.
It's true. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove when you just start out. It's about taking your time. Stick to those you know to gain experience. That's what I always think as well. Didn't go on mad long runs that you're no sure about the boys that's better than you. I was a direct access as well. I was a 40-year-old guy getting back into bikes when I went for a direct access, and then I got a 600 Bandit. Was my first bike, and even then I went out myself quite a lot just to try and get my confidence up, and you're never as good as you think you are.
No. That's a good point. Got a question for GMT07 biker, which...
See, before you do that, Mark?
Yep.
Carol Dutch, we've got a Facebook page, mate, so look it up and join. Yeah.
And Instagram.
Also got an Instagram page.
Yep. Check it out. Anyway, when you go, we Grant.
Yep, so Isle of Man track days. If you're going to any track in the world, what track would you pick and why? Well, this doesn't apply to me because I'm not interested in track days. So
Nuremberg, for me.
You done it?
No, but that's definitely. I was talking to a father-in-law about this actually about a week ago, and it's in the pipeline for us to nip over to the Nuremberg and do it. He's actually got. He's not really. He's a classic biker, so he's got 10 bikes and they're all classics. That's his thing. But after he's looked up on YouTube and seen videos of it, he's actually itching to nip over and give it a go. So that's definitely in the pipeline for us. But so for me, definitely that and Silverstone, just because Silverstone's the big British one. But definitely Nuremberg for me. I
was very close. I done a bike tour a while back there, and I was in. I went to MotoGP in Assen, and then I went up there to Germany, and we were meant to go to Nuremberg, but we were 340 k's away from it, and it was going to be there, Nuremberg, and then we had to head back to the ferry, and we just says it was too far to go. But just before I came here to Spain, I had booked in for a track day at Knock Hill. And I've never done a track day ever, and it's like one of the ones I want to get out of my system sort of thing, because I've been in the Isle of Man, lived there, and I've blasted the mountains and stuff like that, but I've never been on a track. And when I got to Knock Hill, it had been 3 days of beautiful sunshine, and as I was driving there, the dark clouds was coming for Edinburgh, and it absolutely hammered down. And I thought, I'm not going out on that track in the way. I just didn't fancy it, so I stumbled on a track day. But anyone would do me.
Scott, on you go, Zed. Sorry.
I was just going to say I'm looking at doing a knee down course before I even consider or contemplate going near a track. I don't have the skill or the ability to make the most of riding on a track. So I think the first thing for me would be to go on a knee down course to know the limits of a tyre and the limits of the bike and the limits of myself before I even look at pushing on a track. And to add to that as well, I'm thinking of like going to the wheelie school up at Crail as well when it kicks off again.
Yep.
So that'll all tie in, because I think a big part of track riding is being able to balance that bike on the back wheel when you're hearing it down a straight. So yeah, that Silverstone, like Chris said, that obviously because it's the GP track of the UK. But any of the GP tracks, I would love to try them all. I would love to try the Isle of Man as well. I can do it in the PC, but I can't do it in the. That's all I've been doing on lockdown. I bought the Isle of Man TT game for the PC, so that's all I've been doing is riding all the tracks in Ireland, and that's great.
The Isle of Man's great, going up and over the mountain, and it's good during TT week because they close the mountain and they can go one direction. Aye, and it's quite good, but that's all there is in Isle of Man. The rest of the roads are very bumpy, and if you're a biker out there, you when you go on your bike, you just, because it's a wee place, you're just going the same way all the time, and it gets a bit tedious, I think. As for getting the knee down, I've had the knee down, and the years gone by, I'm not really interested in getting the knee down now. I think you could go just as far as going round corners and keep your knee tucked in. You do have to put the knee down. It looks good, I think, but when your knee goes down for the first time, you shite yourself and you bring it back in again. You know what I mean? So I'm not a lover of it, to be honest. I've been out with the titanium sliders and scraping them and things like that, but I'm 55 now, I think, so I'm not really want to do that again.
Scott, you get any? You bothered about it?
I've got a wee bit. I think for the Catalunya, just pure. I think it would just be purely because the chances of rain out there is very slim. So you can literally just turn up on a track day and go. Whereas you can book Knock Hill, Silverstone, done it.
I never got on it.
You can book it for like June, and it can be raining.
Yeah.
And the weather's horrendous. You can't. But I think Catalunya, you can pretty much put money on it.
I think there's companies as well that you book the track day and they ship your bike over.
I think Penny's still online, so if we get about 10 minutes, then we can start talking about things like that.
I remember BMW when they first brought out the S1000RR, they were doing that as a package. If you bought a brand spanking new S1000RR, they were taking, as long as you paid for the track day, they were flying your bike over.
No, Yamaha did that as well, did they not? The R1M?
I'm not sure, mate. I just know of BMW were doing it.
Because the R1M's got a transponder on it, so it knows where you are.
Right.
So if you say you take it to any track in the world, that will put the engine mapping in for that track.
Right, okay.
You know, and it'll monitor, and it'll obviously with the GPS, it'll do your lap times and so on and so forth.
I know they were doing that. Big Jam should fire up to Inverness.
Aye.
They bought it.
We've got a lot of people picking tracks. We've got Monaco.
Some
F1.
fun. Never
Monaco.
What's this here? Wee biker's just mad. I done a lap of Donington. Oh, there you go. He's misses.
That's Carol. Carol's done a lap of Donington. Fair play.
Wee MT07 biker would love to do, obviously, the Nuremberg.
We've got another. Is that a new thing?
I think that's what he's meaning.
He's probably well known with the beers.
Oh, there's Here's a controversial one. Oof.
I agree. Sorry, minutes to my house.
So I've actually been. Somebody's actually looked into this and actually contacted me, and actually said, I think if I remember correctly, it's £800 for the day, and you get the track to yourself. So all you're needing is 8 people at a ton each, and you're there all day, and you get a track to yourself. So I'm sure somebody looked into this and actually asked me if it would be something we would be interested in. But this was during lockdown, so it was pointless.
I'm sure you could put an Air0 on that, I think.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've never looked into it as much.
I think it's heavy money. I think somebody mentioned to me before about booking Knockhill for a day, and it's like $8,000. I would think.
Nah, it's corporate stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive money. It'd be great. I think you could probably get a group of boys up there easy enough to book it, but I think go for the whole day would be massive.
There's a lot of boys in our page, and that's all they post about is track days at Knockhill. There's a lot of them.
It's good to see Knockhill. It just always seems to be raining there.
So it seems you have to do, I think it was a minimum of 3 track days if you're a beginner or you've never done it before you can get into higher speeds and more vastly experienced groups. But I don't know how it would go with just.
When I turned up at Knockhill, there's if you go on the novice day or the beginners and it's like your first timers, all the experienced boys, they could go out with you as well. They could just turn up, do any sort of thing.
That's right.
Because I'd booked myself doing for a novice beginner, but I wasn't a novice beginner in the rain. I just wasn't wanting to do that. But I mean, it's £99 for a track session, which is quite good.
I think that's a bit of a put off for some people that maybe want to do track days on novice, and then they find out you've got Joe Blogs here who's shit hot at Knockhill track, and kind of puts you off, and they're whizzing by you, and you're just trying to suss out what you should be on the track and what you should be doing.
I think that only accounts for how many people actually book it. But if only 3 beginners,
I think there are 40 people out in the track at any one time. I think something like that. But they do say to you, there's it's pretty strict. I think that if you're overtaken, you could only overtake on the straights. You can't take anybody out before a corner and things like that, just for safety. But I think if you're a novice, you've got your bib on and things like that. So anybody that isn't wearing a bib, you get out the road.
Well, Gordon Ayres comment. Him and Grant McStay, they both have. We've seen the pictures and the videos. They two had done it in the absolute piss and rain at Knockhill, so it didn't make a bit of experience. I can only imagine.
Big cojones.
Well, I think they're that tight for the pay for it, so they'll use it.
I was going to phone my lawyer and sue them, see if I could get my track day back.
Getting some feedback about obviously the advice to new riders as well, which is good.
I think there was one up further up as well, Mark, about the GoPro Hero 9. I can't remember. It was a wee bit away.
I don't know. Gordon Ayres' comment is good. We all know that your right hand goes numb, Scott.
There it is, mate. Is that the one? Said.
Yeah, that's it.
You going to answer it?
Aye, well, the likes are, I've got mine set up just now for 4K, 60 frames per second, and just now we're 128 gig. I think it's about 2 hours and 50 minutes worth of recording time that I would get with that. Whether I haven't had the opportunity to put the camera is actually getting used as a webcam just now. I haven't actually had the opportunity to put the camera on my helmet, so I don't even know whether 4K, whether it's worth it, or going down to 2.7 at 60 frames per second, which I would imagine, because you're halving the resolution, it doubles the memory that it's taken up. It might not, it might just be a wee bit less than that, but Yeah, that's what my camera's set for just now, 4K. It's got the 128 gig card in it, and it's about, I think it's about 2 hours and 50 minutes or so that you would get recording time.
The only thing I could add to that is what settings. I've got the Hero 7 Black, so obviously we're 2 generations in front with the GoPro 9. Don't use GoPro's colour. Do some research and get your settings.
The true colour. Switch your true colour off.
Aye.
And change the colour in post-production.
Yeah.
I've actually, I can't even remember the name of the guy's name, but he does like aerial photography and drone work and stuff like that, and he does some cracking information about the Hero 7, 8 and 9. And that was one of the things that he did, and he showed the difference between true colour just being produced through YouTube and post-production him doing it. There's certain things that they tell you to do. They tell you to concentrate more on resolution than anything else. You want the detail, but you don't need to worry too much about the shading and the colour, because you can put that in afterwards. You want the sensor to be picking up on specific things without it having to try and gather everything. But one of the main bits of information that this guy said was, your camera doesn't know what you're trying to get it to do. You have to go through the settings. You have to play with the settings until you sort of get the settings you need.
GoPro will oversaturate. If you leave it on its auto settings, it'll oversaturate. The footage will not look good, and you'll get pissed off with it. Craig, check some of the videos on the channels. You've got Zhead, you've got myself. Well, Zhead, you've not used your GoPro 9
I've not used my 9 yet, no.
I've got the 7 Black, so if you stick a comment in any of the videos, but have a look at the footage, I'll send you my ProTune settings for the 7, and then you could start there and then play about with the 9, because obviously the 9's got stabilization. It's got different stabilization and stuff. So
yeah, it's got the horizon leveling, and the horizon leveling is in 2 stages. Just to sort of let you understand the horizon leveling that it shows you in the video of the GoPro Hero 9 on like the television. That's with the Max mod lens, basically, which allows the camera to rotate 360 degrees and the horizon stays level. Basically, what it does is it creates a wider field of view, but then GoPro narrows the field of view within its software, which allows the camera to rotate, but the picture stays within the confines of the camera. Whereas mine, you can only tilt the camera, I think it's maybe about 15 degrees either way before it wants to rotate an extra 90 degrees. It's still good. It's going to be great for like when I've got it on my helmet. I don't see me moving my head that much that I'm going to activate that. So I'll be excited to see how it pans out.
And there's Declan come in with the best camera to get when you're out. Well, there's a lot to pick for.
There's not really a bad camera, really, unless you're going really, really cheap.
It's all down to battery and everything else, and extra batteries, and charging them while you're on the bike. If you're out on a long day run, if you've got a USB on the bike, whether you're going to use a power bank into it to obviously take the battery out of the equation. Zhead's got a cracking if you're using Hero 4 with a Sena backpack.
Yeah, it's a GP02, it's called, backpack, which picks up the audio from Sena. So basically the noise cancellation through my Sena goes straight onto my GoPro Hero 4. And see, to be quite honest, see the image quality of the GoPro Hero 4, it's still right up there, because YouTube compresses everything anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's like the Hero 9 I've got, it's got 5K, but you're never going to see it.
No. That's it. It's a much money you want to spend, Declan, to be honest. I mean, the Hero 4 is a good starting point. If you can get the backpack, like Z-Head did, then all your audio is going to be taken care of. Then after that, when you start going, is it Hero 5, it starts bringing in stabilisation. You need the adapter at 50 quid. Is that
Yeah,
the Hero 5?
you've got the audio adapter, £50 to start off with.
Aye, so you've got to buy your GoPro, then 50 quid straight off the bat if you want to catch any audio. But aye, it's whatever you want to spend. You've got drift out there, you've got issues, you've got Prism, Sena Prism tubes, you've got the Sena camera and communication together.
Yep.
What one's that called? I can't remember. You've got that as well.
Is it the 10C SMH or something like that?
That's it. There's a lot out there to pick for. So
I've seen it. It was at Diesel Hog Vlogs. I'm sure he uses that Sena, and it's a decent enough camera for, and you don't have to worry about the audio because the audio is getting taken straight off the Sena as well. And
if you've got anybody connected to you, it records their audio as well.
Yeah, that's what I like about the setup, and that was my whole reason for doing it. And even though I've got the 9, I'm still using that audio. I will get the audio adapter for the 9, but I'm going to use that for ambient noise and to pick up my exhaust.
And then you've got somebody's come in with Cardo, White Hawk, Rock Rider. Use Cardio plug in with a voice recorder. Again, another cracking setup, but there's a bit of money in that.
Yeah.
Depends how much you want to spend.
He also uses he put up earlier on, but he uses the GoPro 7, but he uses it in 2.7K with 50 frames per second with a 256 giga card, and he gets 10 hours of filming.
Mm-hmm.
Which is excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I bought two 128 memory cards along with the 9 because I know that I've got a 2 terabyte extension on my hard drive as well for the computer because it just eats gigabytes of memory every time you're out riding. Yeah. I could be coming home and you're uploading 50, 60, 70 gig easy.
So it's whatever money you want to spend, mate, but there's plenty out there. And by the way, there's plenty of us to ask questions. All these people we've mentioned have all got YouTube channels. You should go and pay them a visit, subscribe to them. You've got Z-Head, you've got our channel. We can all give you different advice and setup advice as well. If you want settings as well, just hit us with a message. We'll give you a set. We'll give you the settings that we're running it as well. There's quite a strange one here for you, Chris.
I've seen it. I've answered it.
Have you?
Grant's wishing me a happy one. You, Grant?
It's the fact to put babe on the end of it, mate. Is there something you want to talk about?
I thought a baby because he's the height of a baby. Well, we've already spoken about him being in a set of heels.
Oh, I will.
The last time he was at I've already converted him from his MT-07 to a Z, so we're fine. Got him turning the coat.
That's a good
Is there anything anybody wants to discuss? Because we've kind of run out of questions at the moment. We've still got 24 watching, so still a healthy live stream.
I've got a wee question for White Rock Rider. There was a wee discussion about getting a Isle of Man type thing on the Isle of Wight. Does she know anything about that? Or is she involved in that at all?
No, he's answered the question about the drives that the Z-Head was talking about for vlogging. He backs his stuff onto external.
Because I've been to Isle on holiday when I was younger, and the roads, like high hedges either side and things like that, very narrow roads. So it'd be interesting to say the least. I know there was a big thing about it, obviously, with Isle of Man getting cancelled, obviously because of COVID and things like that. When this came to the forefront, I've seen it in the papers a couple of times. It's just to see if there's anything, if he can give us an inside view.
There we go.
There you go, good answer.
Diamond races October next year.
That's maybe worth a trip, boys.
Hey, let's get to the other man for the TT next year we've had it cancelled 2 years in a row. Let's get to the first.
Aye, Jim, if you never knew, we've had the TT cancelled twice on us, and we're rolling on for next year again.
The TT is great. I've done, I think, before I actually lived in the Isle of Man, I think I'd done about 6 or 7 TTs. And then, obviously, when you're there, I ended up marshalling for the TT. It's brilliant. I think what's great for the island is the guy that delivers or works in the shop is singing in a pub at night. All the bikers coming in. There's like, I mean, if you've been on the ferry going there, it's like it's mobbed. I
can vaguely remember it. Cider was flowing.
But I mean, it's like going back 20 years when you go in the pubs. They're just all rocking me, and guys are all singing and having a great time. There's hardly any bother at all.
That's actually a pass up there to the Nook.
All right.
Down at the bottom of the Quarter Bridge.
Brilliant.
That was a great wee viewing point, watching them all come down. Then you could just walk round the back of the barriers to the pub, get a pint, walk back to the Nook.
I used to get into bits because the people that lived on the circuit, and you get to Ken, and I'd be in their garden, and you could go and put your finger on the wall, and a bike would come past that close to you and move your finger, and they're doing 155 mile an hour.
Yeah.
You actually can't take a photograph of them, they're that fast.
Aye.
It's crazy.
I've got a family member at Bray Hill, so we have, and they're the one with the only balcony on Bray Hill. And just sitting at the balcony watching all the time. Out in the garden, standing with his cup of coffee.
No, it's tremendous. The speed is phenomenal. For nobody that's ever been to see any of that stuff, you can't believe how fast they're going.
No, it's crazy.
That's why I mentioned Peter Hickman. See, we keep an eye out for his Facebook, and he's going to put up the video of his major lap on the TT. He put a wee clip up, and it must be only about 12 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Just frightening. That 12 seconds clip is frightening.
That frightens the life out of me, that stuff.
I was interested in the tape he had and all that round the camera on his chin.
Just to keep it.
Honestly, his head is literally doing this. Yeah. And at one point you can see the camera, it tilts, and you're like, the fuck's he seeing straight?
The roads are super bumpy. It's like you've got some sort of it's amazing they're that bumpy, the roads, and I sometimes think the faster you go, the less bumpy they become.
I went in 2015, and I think it was the Monday races get cancelled because of the weather. So we turned up on the Tuesday, and I can't remember what race it was that we ended up getting to, but it was Bray Hill that we went to, and it was just at the wee sort of, there's a wee sort of dip just before it just drops off, and that's the junction we were at, and you could hear the revs of the engine peak, and as you looked to the left, about 30 yards down the road, as the suspension started settling the bike, that's when you saw them like that. Every one of them, and they were totally pinned, and my mate and I just looked at each other and actually felt a wee bit ill for a minute or two.
I know you think
like that. This is amazing. It's fantastic. It's steely-eyed missile men, so they are.
Can you imagine what it'd be like to be able to ride at that speed and control it?
No, yeah. Could never imagine. Never.
I think that's built up over a long period of time. These guys, it's unbelievable. They know that course inside and out. And in fact, I think it was, I can't remember what bit it was, but it was a marshal that was talking about John McGuinness. He was coming through this specific bit, and there's a post office, and John McGuinness carved a line in the road with his foot peg. Every lap that he did, he hit that same mark.
Man, I watched him with a journalist, and he literally took him about the island, and he was talking about every section of the road, and he knew every crit Danny on that road. And he's standing at a set of lights, and he's like, see there's a 10 mil hump, but see that 10 mil hump, it's like a metre hump on when you're honest to God, I watched it, it must have been about 30 minutes. and he's walking, and we're riding about the island, and at certain points he would just stop and just say, "See here, we need to do this, we need to do that."
Mm-hmm.
Just always there, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah. The chance might be by him. He might get an e-race or something like that, but I don't know if he'll get another superbike win by the time the TT's back.
Aye.
You can't see it, can't you? Not
Other times catching.
Aye. Gordon, I did see his two-field slide at the TT. I follow Hickey quite a lot. I've met him a few times at the BSBs. He's a really nice, down-to-earth guy. You can literally talk away to him when you're standing in the active. He's a proper biker. He'll just stand and talk to you, and it doesn't matter who's looking at him, who's want to see him. He'll just stand and speak to you until you leave him. It's a really nice fellow.
I think most of the guys, if you meet them, they're all genuine, down-to-earth guys. You go into the paddocks at the TT, I don't think any of them will no stop and give you the time of day.
Aye.
You know what I mean? They're all right.
I always do the paddocks up at Knockout, always when I go up for the British Superbikes. And you're right, there's no many that don't report there. Shaky Bum was brilliant. I went with my mate. I met my mate up there. He was with his girl, and their wee girl. The wee girl was only 3 months or something, and we went up. We went up and we're chatting away, and he just grabbed the Wayne at the arms. He was standing there holding the Wayne, talking away to him. He's going about with the Wayne's face, talking to him, chatting away. Before he could even get a word out, man, he just grabbed the Wayne out of my mate's girl's arms, man. He's just standing there bouncing the Wayne, just chatting away. Brilliant. And he never even looked at anybody else. He was fixated on the Wayne, chatting away. And he was another nice guy that I met up there.
I just say Carl Fogarty's World Superbike leathers.
Right.
We're going to put them up in his restaurant as a feature, but they ended up sitting under my bed for about 3 years. And when I was in Isle of Man, I got into this D&E's press release thing, and Carl Fogarty was there, and I told him I had his leathers, and he wanted them back. He just wanted them back. And I said, well, you're not getting them, basically. But anyway, they ended up in a restaurant down in London, these leathers, and they were tiny because he's a wee guy. He's a wee guy.
You're paying for them. You want them, you're paying for them.
Well, he offered to buy them back, basically, but I wasn't for doing it.
Did you ever hear the story of him with when he was at the TT? With the Ducati, and there was a bolt actually nearly cutting part of his swing arm off as he was doing the last lap.
Jeez, really?
Aye, they said the bike was rattling itself to bits.
No, I'm not watching that.
I mean, you see some frightening things in the Isle of Man. It's when the guys that race around that circuit, the bikes do get rattled to bits.
Yeah.
I just hope it comes back again.
There was a good video where a guy, was it not a boat that was on? Somebody had caught it in camera, and they had to alert the driver while he's riding.
Right.
This was catching one of the boys go through a sequence of bumps, and it was during the race, and actually photographed the boat on the bike.
Right.
You had to radio ahead to the next person. I'm sure there's a video on it on YouTube. So I'm sure.
I remember they did the 2015. They did the 1000cc, the super stock race, and then it was the 600. The 600 race they did after it, and James Hillier's on his 600 going over the mountain, and he's tucked under the fairing, and then he just looks round and starts waving at the helicopter. You know, it's because he's been on a 1000cc bike, hearing it, and the 600 must have felt like a scooter. You know, I'm like, my God.
Me Grant's telling us he can't wait to go to Fish Lab for a fish supper. Thanks again for the live stream and podcast. You're welcome, Grant.
There's Kevin having to shoot away. See you soon, mate. Take care.
I think for me, I'd quite like to do the Northwest. I think that'd be really good. I like the to see all the guys on the grid on the start when they all shoot away at the same time. Me, that I think is better than the TT when they all go away like 15 seconds or something like that, and they're all fighting for the first corner. I think that's massive road racing. Really, I'd quite like to see that.
I think that's what when you go to the MotoGP, it's the start, isn't it? It's just that rumble.
They're all fighting for the first corner.
Yeah.
Or else they're all coming into the last corner, trying to get up that straight to get in front as well. That's notorious for crashes, that last corner. That's at Silverstone. That's brilliant for me. Just listen to that rumble.
Where's the track down in Teesside? It's close to Teesside. It's quite a wee track. They just opened it again this year. It's quite a famous wee track.
Oh, Scarborough.
Aye, what's the name of the track again?
Oliver's Mount.
That was shut down. Oliver's Mount was shut down for health and safety because there is one.
They opened it last year. I think they had a race last year.
They spent money back on it, so but it had zero protection in it whatsoever. There was no health and safety. It was a country road, and you pung the life out of it. But they spent a bit of money on it and reopened it last year.
But that's open to the public during normal times, so you actually can get on it in your bike at any point. Can you know?
Yes.
That'd be a wee trip.
Guy Martin was very successful. Oliver's Mount. Very successful.
I think because you're a couple of hours down to Teesside.
Scarborough's not far.
Aye. Get a B&B for a night. Do Oliver's Mount. There's another good run.
There's Gordon there with another story about himself. He nearly killed Grant McStay with his crash bung when it rattled off. They were going round Not Kill, and his crash bung came flying out and came straight at Grant sitting behind him. The guy is an absolute walking disaster.
Jim, see if you're ever out here and somebody walks up to you and says, "Hi, I'm Gordon," tell him to fuck off.
Best thing to do is jump in your bike.
He's pulling up with his name there.
Don't let him hold your helmet.
No. Don't let him touch it.
No.
In 20 years in the prison service, nobody gets to hold my helmet.
Honest, the guy is a walking nightmare.
Oh, yes. Aye. Mr. Diesel. Anybody get anything that you want to discuss or whatever? We're at 2 hours, so if we get, 10-minute warning?
Aye.
Do you say, Scott, Chris, do you want to talk about what any kind of plans we've got for the future for the group and the channel, i.e. what we were talking about last night, or do you want to hold on to that until something more conclusive comes out yet?
Oh, you're fucking interrupted in what I'm doing.
I know.
You can say no. You can say no, and we can leave it.
I don't mind playing
So
Itchiness was away.
and it's not normal. It doesn't last for 6 months.
You don't need extra tests. You can't catch it twice, Mark.
That's true, mate. That's true. So we're just leaving it there.
We're not picking it up.
I don't mind. You can carry on and say what you want.
Well, it's planned for the channel. We've talked about what we want to do with the group and the channel and all the rest of it, and now we've got a reason to do it.
So we don't have it yet.
We don't have
it. Sealed yet, is it?
No, that's true. But
I know
the chicken and egg situation. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's sealed.
We're crossing the road.
No, well, it is sealed. We've already said to them that we're doing it. It's just a case of we had their final discussion last night, so it's sealed. So it is.
Go on then.
Go on. I don't know.
So we're going to. It's Mark brought it up. Mark's now.
I've got a third nipple. That's what it is, right?
Oh, he switched his camera off. Oh, unbelievable. Right, Scott, it's down to you, mate.
Well, he's getting it.
Chris has cut his camera off.
No.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, right. Well, fucking good evening, guys. Sorry you're late. No bother. Wibbly wobbly Harley boy. What a name.
Oh, aye, that was subtle, Chris. Aye.
I know, just to
Must be good with that one, didn't you?
So, we're Matt, you're a prick. So we're going to end up. We're going to help sponsor a young up and coming Scottish racer. Young boy, he's only 14. Not name any names. So that's the big plan is to help him out. He's very good. Once we disclose who he is and go and look him up, the boy's very talented. He finished. I think he almost won every race last year, but he ended up buggered one of his races up and ended up coming second in the championship. So he did. A young up and coming Scottish rider that we've all kind of taken a wee shine to and think he's.
He's going to do like a GoFundMe page and all that.
Well, we were trying
so we can help out. Like I'm sure everyone on your Facebook and whatever would like to maybe throw a couple of quid in for tyres and stuff like that for race meets. That would go a long way, you know.
Aye, that's the kind of things we're kind of trying to iron out last night. But I definitely going to try and help him out. He's, I don't know, Zed, if you were up at the Scott. When was the Scottish Bike Show? The one we went, was it 4 years ago?
I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
But anyway, I don't know if you ever were there and they did the inside, they did the mini motos.
It's oversized. Me on a grom.
He was a wee boy out tearing it up.
Right.
Scott's taking nothing to do with us
and
now.
I turned round to Scott at the time and says, I'm going to get that wee boy's autograph because I swear that wee boy's going to be shit up at this.
It turns out
X amount of years later, it turns out he's been the same boy. So, we'll as I say, we'll support, we're going to support them in some way and try and help them out and get them up there in the best way we can. So, well done, Matt.
So we're going to get some exclusive content when we iron out all the ins and outs here. And
we need to have a sit down with his dad. He's only 14, the boy, so we'll have a sit down with his dad's next couple of weeks.
Big man.
What's that?
Wibbly wobbly.
It's like he's came over from. I was on a live stream last night. Bikes, Beards, and Brews, and Wibbly Wobbly Harley Boy was on, and obviously, like I'd posted on my Instagram that I was coming on here. So it's fantastic to see him coming over to show a wee bit of support to you guys and myself. Cheers, buddy.
And I think this one for we MT07 bikers for you again, Chris and Babe. There you go.
Well, me and Scott need to fight for the month of May, so we do. So.
Here we go.
So we'll maybe need to cancel it.
I bags December so that I can get my baubles out.
Well, me and Scott share the same birthday, so we'll need to fight for the old May. So,
Take the price of one, big man.
Well, we could do it. I suppose we could do it.
There you go.
Bullshit there.
Used to have actually wound me up so much about this earlier. Wouldn't be bothered talking about it.
You're at it.
Right. Anybody else get anything to add before we do a close down? Or there's a wee thing for.
No, again, it's just thanks to Jim also taking the time out, considering he's 20 to midnight over there, Jim.
Aye, but I'm 55, so I didn't go to bed now until about 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
just thanks obviously for brother Zed. It's always nice to see
Cheers,
you.
my man. I can't wait till we're out riding again, boys. Really, honestly.
What about you, James?
I definitely we're all going to James.
Yeah, I'm out for a big run on Tuesday, boys. I'll be about 300, 400 mile or something like that. We're all there.
Fantastic. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe, Jim.
I used to have a GoPro 7, but it kind of broke off my wing mirror, so I didn't do that anymore. But anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
No, it's been fantastic, mate. Thanks for coming on. Aye,
Cheers.
definitely. Thanks for the invite.
I don't think I actually did the fight. I think
He didn't. We forced it on him.
I think I just said we've got 2 trips to Spain now, so I don't think
If you get yourself to Spain, there's a merely welcome, but that's
He
quite
never said no.
I would never say no.
You've got a tour of Spain today now.
It certainly get you out in some very exciting roads here.
I'm sure once the world settles down, we'll take you up on that offer.
I know, I can't remember getting the offer, but anyway. Well, you've been boys.
Ted, anything you want to add, mate?
No, just everyone keep doing what you're doing. The channel's grown from strength to strength. You are doing really well. The Basic Bikers is growing, and there's a whole load of positivity on the Facebook page and Instagram, and obviously the videos. And it's quite promising to see and hear that you've got loads of different things planned, and I'll be excited to watch what you are doing, and hopefully if I can help out in any way or participate in any way, it would be ideal. So that's it from me.
Look forward to it.
Always welcome, brother.
Always,
Cheers,
aye, absolutely, always. I've got one last question just to finish us off.
Easy.
Go for it.
Off-sized hamster.
Aye, I'll go with the same.
I'm going to take a rain check and just think about that for a wee while.
What do you think?
It's got to be a horse-sized hamster.
Yeah.
I would hate to see the size of its wheel all the same.
Chris?
No, I'm the same as the boys. A horse-sized hamster every time for someone.
I would go for one. I would go for one. Aye, one thing to fight. So, aye, a horse-sized hamster. Scott, you're confused.
Grant.
I think he's had his last beer now, hasn't he? That's him.
He's now going to his bed.
That's him peaked.
He definitely has. That's for you, Chris, I think, again. Good night, guys. Well,
It's always.
Cheers, guys.
Aye, thanks for tuning in, guys, and comments.
So that's us. We're going to bring us to an end. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. Also, you can join our Facebook group as well. Just send us a request to join. Thanks again to Ted Motovlogs. Thank you very much.
Man.
And to Jimbo, all the way from Spain. Where, if anybody wants to go to Spain, Jim's invited everybody.
Always you take the bite.
You're my family.
So if you want to go to Spain, just hit Jim with a wee message and that. I'm quite sure he'll accommodate.
And I'll take care of your travel arrangements.
We're planning in terms of the future for anybody. It's obviously 23 still viewing. It's still very healthy. We're going to do a podcast once a month and a live once a month, just to give the AyrshireVlogster a wee break. Try to do it every week. So
fuck's sake, you're looking at anything else.
I know that's true. So on Saturday, next Saturday, you'll have the podcast with Anna, Morag, and Claire.
We need to get that visor on and Lee.
Yeah. You're also going to have part 2 of the lockdown video as well, with some help from one of our Facebook members who's going to give me some drone footage running about the castle and that. So that should be good as well. And then the following week, we will either have a podcast or a live stream, depends what way it goes. But that's the plans for the future in terms of we're going to every fortnight basically you'll have something regarding live streams or podcasts. Thanks for watching. It's been another great night. There's still 21 viewing, believe it or not. So
diehards.
Aye, diehards, mate. Absolutely. It's been a great night. Guys, stay on. Once I end the live broadcast, we can get a quick 5-minute chat with each other, so you don't need to jump off. But for everybody else, we're getting hundreds. We're not getting hundreds, but we're getting plenty of messages. There's one for you, Jim. Haha, Spain it is. Good night, guys. When's the next live? I'll kind of cover that. Wibbly Wobbly says you'll try and get in early the next time, Zed. So thanks to everybody that's watched, and thanks for your time, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Take care. Thank you.